All right, so last night, Kawhi Leonard had his Jordan moment, becoming the first player in a Game 7 to hit a game winner at the buzzer. Kawhi Leonard was phenomenal the entire postseason. If he wasn't considered to be the best player in the world, he should be after this. He should be considered in that conversation with LeBron and with KD for best player in the world, because this dude is phenomenal, man. Like, I always thought that he had a superior defensive game, but he just showed how offensively sound he is. You know, like, this dude is amazing, man. Like, he's the real unicorn in today's league, because defense isn't a priority. 3-point shooting is a priority. You need to be able to hit a 3-pointer. And I'm not saying that every person on the floor needs to be able to hit a 3-pointer. You need to be able to, the last time I made that statement, that you need to be a 3-point shooter on the floor if you want to see any time on the floor. And then somebody was like, hey, what about Ben Simmons? Ben Simmons does something different. He's a facilitator. He's, 6'8", 6'9"? Probably taller than that. I believe he's like 6'8", 6'9". And he plays the point guard position. So he has a size advantage defensively and a rebound advantage against small guards. And it's basically like having 3 big men out there, because he's originally a power forward. So he does different things well that gives him value and that keeps him on the floor. But to be honest, and I said this after the game, look, man, Ben Simmons needs to develop a shot this offseason. If he doesn't, the Sixers literally, during the season, need to shop him around. They literally need to shop him around this next season coming up. If he does not develop a shot, he at least needs to shoot at least 45% jumpers. I'm not talking about layups, jumpers. He needs to at least shoot 45% with at least 10-foot jump shots. With at least 10-foot jump shots, he needs to shoot at least 45%. And he needs to up his 3-point shooting at least to 30. And that's a shame, because 30% from the 3 is not good when you talk about point guard. It's not good. But he at least needs to get his shit up to 30 to be, because Ben Simmons will never be one of the best players in the league without a shot. He just wouldn't. And it's not like he's super effective inside the paint, because he is going up against smaller guys. Like, the average point guard is like 6'3". You know, the average point guard is like 6'3". So he needs to develop a shot this offseason that would instantly propel him up to a height like with the likes of Anthony Davis or something like that. But back to the topic at hand, Kawhi Leonard was amazing. And I've had some harsh words to say about Joel Embiid and his personality, and sometimes how his childish behavior can get in the way of him being an effective leader. But when I saw him break down during the game, I mean, it shed light on just the impact that these outcomes have on these players. And it wasn't like T.O. where T.O.'s just felt super about T.O. This felt like a guy who really wanted to win it. I mean, he was coming up with all kinds of excuses for why he was playing bad. Even if he was sick, if you're sick, you don't play. If you're not sick, I mean, if you do play, then you're not considered sick. You're fine. And to see him break down, man, like, he couldn't come to terms with the fact that they lost this way. It was kind of rough to see that. I mean, hopefully he becomes a more serious leader. Hopefully he is able to put a lot of those childish antics behind him. And, hopefully he's able to lead the Sixers deeper next year. because this year's second round series that they lost in was a lot more competitive than last year's. So it looks like they're at least progressing in some way. And also, back to Philly one more time, they need to bring Jimmy Butler back. Butler is Butler. I've always thought that Butler was just unfairly criticized. He was unfairly criticized. And I'm talking about Butler on the court. Butler on the court is probably one of the best star players that you can have to lead your team. I'm not saying that he's championship material. I think he needs other great pieces around him to help him, to propel him to the championship level. But Jimmy Butler, when Derrick Rose got hurt and went down, everybody thought that Chicago was done. No, Jimmy Butler stepped up. Jimmy Butler stepped his game up. Jimmy Butler, over the course of the years that he was in Chicago, went from a second round pick to a decent starter, to an all-star starter, to a star player. And then he went to Minnesota, who didn't taste playoff success since KG was there, gets them to the playoffs his first year there. And then when he started bumping heads with management because they're trying to push Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins on him, like they're the next guys up, not you. He shut the ass down. That's what I believe happened. And now he's in Philly. I mean, he didn't get them further than they got last year, but it was a lot more competitive this year. And to be honest, Jimmy Butler was probably the only bright spot throughout the entire series. Tobias Harris was invisible. Ben Simmons had his weak moments where he just didn't do much of anything. And Joel Embiid had those games where he was just complaining about, oh, I'm sick, all this other shit. But Jimmy Butler was the only consistent thing about the Sixers during the series. Just like Kawhi Leonard was the only thing consistent about the Toronto Raptors. So I'm going to let him talk. But it was a great game last night.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp. Good morning.
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
How you doing?
It's a great day.
It's a great day. I brought the little Kawhis out.
Boom. I would open it, but it would spew like champagne all over this desk.
We don't want that.
I won, Jenny, yet another case. I'm now up 34 cases on Shannon
Small
Sharp.
consolation.
Thank you very much. I love it. Number 2, actually.
I hate this fucking...
Thank you.
No.
The whole thing they got going with this whole Diet Mountain Dew bets and all this, I think it's just the most clownish shit that they're... Like, it's just stupid. Like, come on. Like, super annoying to have to hear them talk about this shit constantly.
Appreciate it.
Hold on. You want to put up the text? You want to put up that tweet yesterday?
Yeah.
That's the luckiest shot I've ever seen.
Well,
that shot was... It had some skill to it. I mean, that shot took a lot of thought. It had to. There's no way you're just going to release a shot like that and it just bounces in. It took some thought. But those bounces, it got lucky bounces to go in. There's some skill. With great talent, you need some luck to be able to win games like that. There's no way you're just going to dominate throughout. Sometimes you need a little luck. And Kawhi got some luck.
Quit on my Spurs, and now you heaping this rate.
And Skip Bayless is still extremely upset, and he's probably even more upset now. He's trying to hide it with his boisterous tone about this whole Diamond Mountain Dew bet shit. But he's extremely jaded. He feels jaded. He's one of those guys who are a super fan of certain teams, and anytime players don't show the utmost loyalty to those teams, he feels slighted in some way. Like they directed a lot of their disrespect to him, and he feels like he has to react in an appropriate fashion for him, which is attack them. And now he doesn't even say Kawhi's name anymore. He says number 2, and that's his childish way of, I guess, giving it to Kawhi Leonard. Some shit, I guess. But last night had to be a rough night for Skip Bayless, because this dude was on his team and they were great. Now they're not great anymore. They're a first round exit team now. And he got the Toronto Raptors to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I really do believe the Toronto Raptors will make it to the NBA Finals for the first time, I believe, in franchise history. They will make it to the finals, and it'll be because of Kawhi. Now, what would fuck Skip Bayless up even more is if Kawhi led this team to an NBA championship. I don't know if they can beat the Golden State Warriors, but it'll be a good series to watch. I'm not saying they would beat Milwaukee. I kind of picked Milwaukee this round, and they completely dusted the Boston Celtics. They really wanted it more, so you have to give them all the respect in the world for that. I think it'll be a good series. I do believe Toronto will win. It'll probably be a 6 or 7 game series. I think that it's going to be a showdown between Giannis and Kawhi Leonard, and Toronto will pull it out, honestly. And Golden State's going to beat Portland. I'll pick Portland to win Game 7. They won Game 7. You know, they did a phenomenal job getting that done. But I don't think they have the requisite talent to beat Golden State. The only way that Golden State will lose that game is either by injuries or if Golden State just completely lays a fucking egg by not taking it seriously, how they sometimes do. But over the past few years, when it mattered the most, Golden State has gotten the job done. Besides when it came to Cleveland.
How you doing, Jenny?
I'm good.
Look gorgeous.
Help me out, Jenny. Who won that case of duo?
Remember
what he gave me? 4
Rockets to blow it up, but hey, we got to start with number 2. Kawhi Leonard made one of the biggest shots in NBA history last night. Game 7 in the closing seconds with the game tied. Kawhi shot from the corner.
That was the most incredible shot I've ever seen. Live. I haven't seen it was so dramatic the way it happened. And before that shot even happened, Kawhi was at the line, and I believe it was 90-88. All right, he knocked one free throw down to go up by 2. I felt he needed to knock down that other free throw shot and give them a 3-point lead. And then when Philly tried to drive down to try to shoot a 3, foul. Try to take as much time off the clock as you possibly can. But it worked out for Toronto, and I don't think it could have ended any better than the way it did last night. I mean, I screamed. Everybody on fucking TV screamed. Like, it was just such an incredible moment to witness.
The game winner after it bounced on the rim 4 times. Felt like forever. Kawhi finished with 41 points and had the unbelievable finish to help the Raptors advance to the conference final.
And I'm sorry if the video is a little fuzzy. I think I'm watching this from somebody's page, but that was the first time I ever seen that kind of emotion from Kawhi Leonard. I thought out of everybody being so overly emotional about the shot, I thought he'd be the only one that was as calm. But he was pretty excited, which he should have been. That was an incredible shot. And he's going back to the conference finals.
What percentage of the shot was luck and what percentage was skill?
Can't wait.
Now, Skip is going to say that it was 100% luck. If I had to put percentage on skill versus luck, I would say 55% skill, 45% luck. It had to be just as much luck as skill, because just the math that went into where he had to release the ball, when he had to release the ball, and the position he would have to be to shoot it, because he was fading away as he was shooting that ball, and that ball could have easily airballed, but it hit the right side. It hit the right part of the rim, bounced straight up in the air, and just tapped around until it eventually went in.
For this,
It's 100% skill. Because how many times do you think Kawhi?
It's really not, and they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. Skip thinks it was 100% luck. He believed it was 100% skills. You need that shot. You needed those bounces. It's not like he hit it all net. Now, if he hit it all net, that's not luck. It was just him shooting a great shot. But those bounces, any one of those bounces could have knocked that ball off the rim, and it could have just hit the ground. But it was some luck in there.
Wait, can I hear that one more time?
It was 100% skill.
100%. 100% SKILL as in skill, as in know-how?
No.
Okay.
SKILLZ. Skills.
Oh.
Yeah. How many times during the course of his career? How many times over the course of his career do you think Kawhi Leonard, left corner, right corner, top of the key, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you listen to him on the court, he said, I missed the three short early. So he knows now he's processing. I can't be short.
He was nothing but short. Well, he was nothing but short.
No, that ball hit the perfect spot to bounce. Because when you look at it, when it hits the rim, it just goes straight up in the air. If that was short, it would have hit the side of the rim and it would have bounced off. And it would have just hit the ground. That was it. No, it bounced straight up in the air, and then it took another bounce on the other side of the rim, went a little less in the air, and then it just tapped itself in. It was a great shot.
He was short. The ball would have never got over the rim. I'm looking at this thing. I wrote it down.
What are we doing?
Hold on. I wrote this down. Shannon was supposed to go first.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Shannon, still you.
Okay,
Keep going.
That'll be awful nice.
Keep digging that hole.
Thank you. You talk about, and you listen to him talk about how he had to make an adjustment from the previous shot. If you look at him, this shot is very, very difficult because not only is that he's going towards right, we see guys shoot that shot a lot of times and it hit the corner of the backboard because they don't take into account that their momentum, when you're drifting to your right, your momentum is taking you out of bounds, so you have to shoot the ball a lot earlier. So not only that, Ben Simmons passes him off to Joel Embiid.
And that's where the skill comes in, is being able to know where to release the ball, where you know it's going to hit the rim. Because what Shannon is saying is right. If you take too long to shoot a ball, a lot of times you'll either shoot it behind the backboard, it'll hit the backboard, it'll fly over, or it will fall short. But if you can release it a little earlier than you would think you would have to release it, that's the level of skill it took for him to knock that shot down, was being able to know where to release the ball for it to hit the rim at least. And then everything else after that was luck.
And Joel Embiid contends, so not only does he have to get the shot up over Embiid, he has to put it at a trajectory that I was short last time, I've got to make sure I cannot be short this time.
Sure.
He processed all that information. See, Skip, you think that shot took place then. That shot took place years and years
Lord have
it
mercy.
ever presented itself. And to go through what he had to go through, Skip, do you know he scored 15 points in the fourth quarter? The rest of his team.
That's not what you.
I love Kevin Spanish.
No.
This is my time. If you don't mind, I would like to present my argument. I'll turn the floor over to you. You present your argument, and then I'll come back and smash your argument.
All right. Now, let me say this about Kawhi Leonard before they start their thing. There have been no points during the playoffs. I'm not even going to say during this series. There have been no point during the playoffs where I thought Kawhi Leonard just wasn't good. He has been the most consistent player this entire playoffs. There was not one game that he played in that I didn't think Kawhi Leonard was the best player on the floor. Not one game.
Pieces. Okay. But anyway, the shot was skill. Luck is what happened when preparation meets opportunity. If you prepare for a particular moment, when the opportunity presents itself, you take full advantage of it. Luck goes to the man that has his house in order. That's
yes.
what Amundsen said. Luck is what they call it. This is not luck, Skip. If you remember, he hit the very shot against Portland a month earlier, and the ball
was the very shot. It was 10 feet on the base.
There you go.
This is a 10-footer.
And guess what? If you don't mind me asking.
And that shot hit over the front edge of the rim.
And then what did it do? Boom, 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 through the basket.
That shot wasn't bothered. Go ahead. I know it. I watched it live.
Skip, all you doing is you're making Kawhi grow. You're adding yeast to the legacy.
That shot was very similar. The only things that are different are that he's shooting it a lot closer to the basket, and the defense isn't as tough as it was in Philly. But that shot is very similar. He's shooting it as a fadeaway. The ball tipped in the same it did in Philly, but the defense was just tighter on him in the game last night. But that shot is very... Now I see where when Shannon said, how many times do you think he practiced this shot? Now I can see why he's saying that, because he's done this shit before. But that still doesn't change the skill that it took him to make this shot was being able to get the ball to hit the rim. The luck comes in with the bounces.
You know, Jen, I know you cook a little bit, but when you add yeast to something, Skip, it rises. So all you're doing, every time you open your mouth,
I hear that,
and a toe pops out because you say, oh, he had to get that over. Yeah, you're right. He had to get over 7 foot.
Everybody knows, and you already know this, Shannon. Skip is just saying all this shit because he hates Kawhi. Because Kawhi didn't want to play for his fucking team. That's it. In the back of Skip Bayless's mind, I'm pretty sure he knows this was a great fucking shot. This was a legendary shot. I've never been to the Hall of Fame, but I'm pretty sure they have pictures of moments of greatness by certain players. And this picture should be there. This was a hell of a fucking shot. In the biggest moment of the playoffs for the Raptors. I'm not saying if he would have missed this shot, they would have lost, but it would have upped their chances of losing the game if he didn't make this shot. Because honestly, I believe that if it would have went to overtime, I think Philly would have found a way to pull this shit out. But he got the shot to go. It was a legendary shot. Skip knows it was, and he's just being dismissive because of his own agendas.
Joel Embiid.
Tell me when it's my turn.
It's not your turn just yet. He was drifting to his right, and to make sure
Look at him. He's fucking irritated. Look at his face. Like, every face he makes talking about Kawhi, it feels like he just wants to fucking go off on the guy. And I'm not gonna say racial shit, but whatever he says, he feels it right now. And this is those moments. And you think he's preparing to shut down his argument by breathing really hard and preparing himself. And no, he's trying to keep his composure because he really hates this guy.
ball didn't hit the corner of the rim, but the backboard, he did it. 100% skills, and it hurt Skip Bayless because it's
Yeah, he's smiling because he knows, man. He knows this. He's trying to milk this shit, man. Because all the times that Skip Bayless gets on Shannon Sharp about LeBron James, he's trying to murder him with this Kawhi thing.
is a home.
That was simply the silliest argument you have ever made in the history of Undisputed. And I'm about to smash your argument into 1,000 pieces.
You hope you smash his argument.
Because that shot was 1,000% luck. That was
Correction. It wasn't 100%. It was 1,000%.
simply the luckiest shot that ever fell to win a playoff game. Ever. In all my years, going back to covering the Lakers here in the middle 1970s, I've never seen a luckier shot that won a playoff game.
Why was it lucky?
Number 2 actually had the audacity.
Now, you know what the luckiest game winner, especially in the playoffs, that I ever seen was the Lakers and Spurs back in the early 2000s. Derek Fisher. Anybody who's watched basketball back then knows what I'm talking about. Derek Fisher, he catches an inbounds with like 0.9 seconds on the clock or 0.4 seconds on the clock, something like that. So when that ball is inbounded to him, he catches the ball and he doesn't even. He just jumps, turns around, and flings the ball in the air, and the shit went in. Derek Fisher, game winner versus Spurs. Look that shit up. It was probably one of the most luckiest shots I've ever seen in my life.
After the game, standing on the court in the post-game interview, to say that, I work on that shot every day in practice. No, you don't. Baloney.
How you call the man a liar?
Yeah, I don't think he's lying because he has history that he's done it before, so he might be.
It's my turn, and I think you're not going to interrupt me because I didn't interrupt you after the
And real quick, things about great players in basketball, a lot of them have their favorite shots to shoot that they know is going to win them the game, or that they believe is going to win them the game. A lot of players, a lot of great players have signature shots. Like I believe Dwayne Wade's shot was the bank shot. Like his top of the key, his top of the key fucking bank shot, right? You know, that's his shit. I think he comes off like a screen at the top of the 3-point line, and he shoots like a little bank shot right there. That every great player has a signature shot.
Early interruption.
Okay.
Then I bided my time.
really?
And now it is my turn. There is no way he practices a shot to do that, because I could give him 100,000 shots and he could not again make a shot do that, because it's almost physically impossible.
But that doesn't matter, and that's not the point. That's not even relevant to what's going on right now. You could give him 1,000 shots and he can miss all of them. The rest of them, he can miss the rest of them. But all he needed to do was hit one shot in one moment, and he did that. And that's what burns you up, and you can't get over it.
So, what happened? Joel Embiid should have blocked the shot, but he came to a jump stop first. He mistimed his jump, if we could see it one more time. Embiid does a jump stop and hesitates for a second, and then he has to relaunch himself. Joel Embiid is obviously 7 feet 2 inches tall, and if he timed his jump right, he just would have blocked the shot. Now, it's also possible he would have caught some finger, and they would have called a 2-shot foul, because it wasn't quite a 3-point shot. It was a 2-point jump shot. So it's possible that number 2 would have had to go to the line to make 1 of 2 to win the game, and I'm pretty sure he could have made 1. But again, Embiid mistimed his jump. But he got enough hand up that he forced number 2 to shoot a rainbow arc shot, which is completely against stereotype of how he shoots the ball. Just for those who haven't watched him as closely as I have, number 2 is a line drive jump shooter.
Yes.
When he's in his rhythm and in his flow, he shoots line drives that barely arc at all and just bottom of net. And
Yeah, I never really noticed how he shot the ball, but I noticed it in this Philly series, and it just looks so awkward when he shoots it. But when it goes down, that shit goes down like a dagger. Like, it just hits the rim so hard, and it just falls in. It's funny.
And the degree of difficulty is high because obviously you cut down the portion of the rim that you can drop the ball through.
Correct.
Okay, so this was completely uncharacteristic of any shot he's ever shot because he was forced into a high arc. But obviously, you say he's...
All right, and then I'm done after this. That's the thing about great players. That's what separates great players from average players. Great players can evolve, man. Like, look at LeBron. LeBron never really had a long distance shot. And then he went to Miami. He got better with it. Then he went back to Cleveland. Became a way better 3-point shooter. I mean, sometimes you evolve. Your game has to evolve to survive the times. And that's what great players do, man. Like I said, I've never seen Kawhi. I've never thought of Kawhi as a 25 to 30 point per game scorer. This dude scored 40 points in a multitude of games during this playoff run. Like, he has shown during this playoff run that he can be that reliable first option scorer that people didn't at first see him to be. So, just great game from Kawhi. Congratulations to the Toronto Raptors. But it's time to move on.